Hello everyone and welcome back to my Gran Turismo 7 series. Today we will be trying to get all the National A licenses, trying to get gold in all the National A licenses. So this is the first one. We're at Tsukuba Circuit for A1, so let's see how this goes. A little bit wide. The test seems to just be the final corner, so hopefully this one won't be too difficult and we can move on with the rest. We get silver on our first attempt, 70.775. We need to get a couple of tenths better than that if we want to get gold, but as you saw we completely missed the apex there, so if we tidy things up this one should not be terribly difficult. So we go again and let's see what we can do here. But the reason I'm doing these tests a little bit earlier than when it's required is because I actually needed a bit of money. So that is why. But there we go, second attempt, we get gold fairly easily, so let's move on to the next one. So we move on to the second test, which takes place at the Dragon Trail circuit. It's just the final two corners of the lap, a kind of double left-hander. It may even be one corner. You certainly drive it as if it's one corner. But anyway, just clip the first apex nicely, run out wide, try and get this one a little bit later. We probably hit that apex earlier than ideal, but thankfully there's a big gold curb on the outside that we can use as a bit of a runoff, and we get the gold time very easily on this one. So the next test then takes place at Monza, the Lesmos to be specific. We are driving in a bathtub, so let's see how this goes. Shouldn't be too difficult surely to get through well, some fairly easy corners, at least in Formula 1 terms. In a bathtub, maybe it will be a different story. A lot of understeer through the second Lesmo actually, so a little bit more challenging in this car. And as we come towards the line, we're actually nowhere near the gold time. We need to improve by over a second, so we do eventually manage to do that, and this is the run that we manage it. But it did actually take me quite a while to master this one. So yeah, it initially I thought this would be a fairly easy one, but it was yeah, a little more challenging than what it appeared to be on the surface. You actually see I'm behind the ghost here, but my ghost time's only barely off the gold time at this point. I did improve a number of times before this run. A good exit out of the final corner, and we just about sneak in under the gold time by 0.015. National A4 then is at the Tokyo Expressway, and this one I'd say is one of the more challenging ones in the National A group of tests. It took me about 10 minutes or so to get this one to a gold standard, so this is the first run I actually managed to complete that you're seeing right now. I don't know what it is about this one. I guess it's just the close proximity of the walls and the nature of the corners, just not really a style that particularly suited to. But anyway, we come to the line to complete our first full run of this, and we actually get silver right off the bat. And yeah, around about 10 minutes later I managed to get gold, which is this run here. So yeah, it was a little bit of a challenge this one, but nothing too crazy, and we did manage to do it in the end. But yeah, I think it was just probably the timing. There's no room for error on this one. I suppose that is the major challenge here, is that you can't make a mistake. You can't run, that little bit wide like you can on a regular circuit. Normally you can drop a wheel in the grass or whatever and get away with it, but on a street circuit you touch the walls and it's game over. But anyway, we get the gold time, so we can move on. National A test number 5 then, and we are now cornering in the wet beginner. So in this one we're driving a Nissan 180 SX Type X from 1996. Cool car. But anyway, let's try and actually get this done. This is actually our first attempt on this one. I was a bit worried. We get a lot of understeer, and we must have just barely kept it on the curb, but yeah, definitely on the limit of what we can get away with there in terms of running too wide off the circuit. But anyway, we crossed the line, and our time was already silver with a 30.810, and actually not too far away from gold, so this one shouldn't be too difficult because with that mistake we should be able to improve on that fairly easily. Notice the track is wet, but the sky is very sunny, so it's a bit of a strange weather condition here. I suppose maybe they just used a truck to wet the circuit, but anyway, we will not worry about that as we improve through the first few corners, and this should be enough of an improvement to get us the gold time, as we are way ahead of our ghost and come across the line to a 29.9. We absolutely smashed the gold time, and that is actually a very good run through there. Moving on to National A6, we are now past the halfway point, and this one was a little more difficult once again. This is the Ascari Chicaner corner I have many troubles with in Formula 1 at the Monza circuit, should specify, but yeah, in this one it wasn't particularly difficult. It took me a couple of attempts just to make it through. It was definitely one of the harder ones, but nothing crazy. We get the bronze time after a few attempts and a couple more, and we manage to get the gold, which is this run here. But yeah, this one, it's funny, I remember it in my head. I remember thinking this one was hard, but when I actually look at the number of attempts it actually took me, it really wasn't that many, so maybe I just wasn't enjoying it at the time. But anyway, we managed to get it on. We actually run very wide there on the exit, lucky to get away with that, but we get the gold time, and that is all that counts. We actually get the gold time by quite a bit, so not a particularly difficult one in the end there. National A7, and we are now at another very familiar circuit from Formula 1, this one being Catalonia, doing the first 3 corners, the chicane of turn 1 and 2, as well as the sweeping right-hander of turn 3. A little bit off circuit there, but we get away with it, still on the curb I suppose, which was just about enough to keep the run valid. A little bit wide through turn 3, but not too bad, and we're actually going to, on our first attempt, get a time good enough for gold. So that one, again, a fairly easy one, getting gold on our first attempt by quite a margin in fact, so that was good. But now moving on to National A test number 8, Dirt Driving Beginner. This one we get to drive one of the coolest cars in the game, the Toyota Tundra TRD. I say one of the coolest because I just like big old utes, but anyway, or trucks as they call them in America. I wonder what they call them in the UK. Someone let me know what utes / trucks are called in the UK. But anyway, let's move on, because we have just got the bronze time, and we have some room for improvement there. Obviously my first time driving in the dirt, so it's not going to be first time for this one. But anyway, we go again, and we only take a few attempts to get gold in this one. Have to cut corners more or less to actually make this one, so you can see big corner cut there, a little bit out of control through there over the rise, but nonetheless we managed to gain enough time and cross the line for a gold time, and by a small margin as well. On to the penultimate test on the National A level, and this time we are back on solid surfaces. So let's see what we can do. We are at the Suzuka hairpin, a corner I've never gotten along well with in Formula 1 games, and it seems that trend is continuing here, as we have a lot of trouble navigating it in Gran Turismo 7 as well, and we're way off the gold time with just bronze there, so room to improve, and it takes us probably around about 10 minutes to actually get this one. So I'd say this was probably the most challenging one so far in National A, but not too crazy once again. Spending 10 minutes on it, it's probably longer than it should have taken me, but nonetheless we do eventually get a nice clean run, and we get gold time, and we can move on to the final test in the National A licenses. We get to drive a Supra at the Autopolis circuit. I think that's how it's pronounced, not 100% sure. It's in Japan, and I've watched I think one Super Formula race here, and that is my experience of this circuit. So to put it simply, I do not know this track at all. So yeah, this one's going to be a bit of a challenge, but thankfully we have a car that handles quite nicely. So we do have that on our side on this occasion. But yeah, it was a bit of a challenge in itself just to get to the end of the run, because it's about a 30-second test, which is fairly long. It's got quite a lot of corners in it, so it will take a while to do this one, and it did. In the end, I actually had to turn down traction control. I've been leaving it on the default setting for the whole game so far, but yeah, you can go faster without it, which I did know. I knew that, but I just haven't bothered to change it up until this point. But yeah, we'll be trying to run as low a traction control as possible in future, because it does give you a pace advantage, and with that combined with just driving better throughout the test, I did manage to eventually get the goal time, just sneaking in under 29 seconds, and we will get that done. And now we get to see the prize cars, as well as get the National A license as well, of course. And there it is, National A license acquired, right on cue, almost as if I knew it was going to happen. So now we get to see the prize cars, the first of which I'm not terribly fussed about, to be honest. It's the Volkswagen Scirocco R 2010. Yeah, I don't know. Decent car, I suppose, but I'd rather a Volkswagen Beetle, to be honest. But anyway, the other prize car is much cooler in my opinion. The Subaru BRZ STI Sport. Technically the same as a Toyota 86, but nonetheless a very cool car, and one I'll probably use at some point if there's an opportunity to. But anyway, that is going to do it for this one. We level up to level 8 in our car collector value, and we get a helmet, which is cool. I don't think I've actually customized that yet, so maybe I'll have to do that at some point. But anyway, thank you so much for watching all the way to the end. I really appreciate it. Feel free to give me some feedback in the comments, and I will see you later.